August 2nd, 2017. This was for a total of $8,563,324,000. Those funds were programmed for projects and capital purchases, and they are outlined on the CIP program. Also, I want to note that $8,273,000 were carried over from fiscal year 2016-2017, and you'll hear me talk about those projects, and that's where they come from.
Okay, this number, the second bullet point, is 856,324.
Yes, it's $8,563,000.
We're missing a number there.
You're missing a-
Oh.
It should be 324 at the end.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so
Oh, yeah, yes, you're correct. It's missing a 3 on that other number. But it's supposed to be the same number, 8,563,000.
Okay.
So the 8,563,000 includes projects from Public Works, Police, and Recreations. And Public Works helps out, for example, with Police, we'll be contributing $233,000 for their police radios. And with Recreation, we assist the Recreation staff with bidding out a project and managing the construction of projects. But they do all of the grant funding and putting the project together. So we assist them on some of those projects. All in all, we have over 25 projects. It's close to like 30 projects and about 12 capital purchases. I want to point out that the CIP is funded 100% by special revenue funds, and there is no impact to the city's general fund.
I've got a question. Can you go back to the first slide?
Absolutely.
At bullet point number 1, it says 8,563,000, right?
Right.
Whatever. Does that mean that because it was carried over, 8,273,000 is added to that amount?
That is correct.
Okay, all right, thank you. I thought it was like 16 million altogether.
Yeah, so as I go through the projects, you're gonna see that we spend a lot more money than the 8 million, but that's because part of that was carried over from the previous year.
All right, thanks.
So here's a listing of the completed projects thus far. These are projects that went to bid and construction has been completed and the projects are closed out. We've completed the bus stop enhancement project, CIP 18. CIP 50 and 57 were combined together. This was improvements to the Morgan Park Aquatic Center. We redid the ceiling and we replastered the pool. Corax Storm Drain Phase 1 was completed. Alley street improvements, this is 11 alleys that were rehabilitated citywide. That project is complete. Corax Storm Drain Phase 2 was also completed. These improvements focused around the intersection of Francisquito and Ramona. The median landscape improvements, that project was completed as well. And now we're starting to see that a lot of those plants are coming into their own, starting to look good. Walnut Creek Park, Phase 2, completed. We've purchased a couple of items that were part of the CIP program. The CNG street sweeper has been purchased and delivered, and it would start doing its rounds next week. We purchased a stump grinder. We've also purchased the CNG compressor unit. This is the unit that will go at the public CNG station. The unit has been built and delivered and is currently being stored at a facility so that when we have the project construction plans out to bid, that unit is already purchased and ready to go for when construction starts. We've also purchased the 2 CNG trolleys. This is for the expansion of the commuter express line, for the expansion of our fleet, and it's going to be a commuter express line. Those have been purchased. And also part of the CIP, there was some computer and office equipment that was purchased, and this was mainly for the city maintenance yard, kind of to bring them up to date with modern computers and iPads so that they can monitor the smart irrigation controllers, and we're going to be bringing in some smart trash cans, and all of that can be monitored wirelessly through their iPads. So That's,
So, let me ask you, the CNG compressor, it's not installed yet, or?
no, the unit, we did it in two parts. The first part was, and this is to save on the lead time, we purchased the unit, so we had that built, and now it's completed and delivered, and is being stored at the manufacturer's facility. And that, so when we go out to bid for construction, the contractor, that item is out of his scope, he just has to bring it in and install it.
Oh,
Sam, what happened to the old, what they call the stomper? That was at the yard for a long time. What happened to that?
It's been retired. It was
Oh,
very
okay.
old. So this is a new one that we.
When
that
you
we
retire
purchased.
things, does it go like get sold or what happens?
It goes to auction.
Oh, okay. Where does that show up in our, either,
I'm not sure.
warrants
Maybe
and demands,
Rose
or
might know
where
that.
Rose puts together the, that's okay.
When we retire a vehicle and it goes to auction, do you know where that shows up?
When it goes to auction, and we will record the receipts back to wherever the fund was paid for at the first place. For example, if we use asset forfeiture money to purchase the police car went to auction for, let's say, for $7,000. That $7,000 was recorded back to the asset forfeiture fund.
Okay, oh, thank you.
So
The stomper goes, the money, oh, you just retired, you scrapped it?
right.
Did you get any money for the scrap?
I'm not sure. I would have
Oh,
to. I can get back to you. I'll have to check
Yeah,
with my.
because I know that that's been a question for, that's been there forever.
So total cost to date, we've spent $6,191,000. This is approximately 38% of the CIP program. That is 38% of the combined $8 million this year and the carried over amount from last year. Projects that are under construction or will be under construction very soon. We have the smart parking upgrades to the BP Transit Center and the MetroLink surface lot. These are stalls that are now going to be censored, and signs will be displayed out at the entrance letting commuters know how many spaces are available and where they can park.
That's becoming more common on that front street to display.
Right. Yes. Also, the Main Avenue Complete Streets project, that project has been awarded by council, and we expect to begin construction towards the end of this month. The residential street rehabilitation project, this is phase one of our paving program. We do it in two phases. We try to do a residential portion, and then we do a major streets commercial portion. This is the residential portion, which has been awarded, and construction will start next week. Not listed in the CIP, and I did not include this in the total cost, but I wanted to point out that the energy efficiency project is still currently under construction, but we are expected to be completed with that in May. And that project brought a lot of energy efficient upgrades to the city's facilities. It also brought a very needed AC unit to the gymnasium. So.
And Sam,
Yes.
you know that the tenants continue parking on level one.
Right. We set some warnings today for them. Yeah. So after these projects are completed, this will expend an additional $3,259,000. Good evening, Mayor. Thank you for joining us. This is a listing of upcoming projects. These are projects that are going to go out to bid very, very soon, or we're going to be purchasing them very, very soon. The bus stop, CIP 91 bus stop enhancements, this is phase two to the shelters projects that we did in the previous, showed in the previous slides. This project was designed in-house, and it will be coming to council at the next meeting for authorization to bid. The sidewalks improvement project likewise was prepared in-house by engineering staff, and that's also coming next week for authorization to bid. The San Gabriel River Commuter Bikeway project. This project is now in the permit phase. So right now we are seeking permits from LA County and Caltrans. Once we obtain those permits, we can take this project to construction. So we're hoping that this happens somewhere around the summertime or before. But it's contingent on when we get those permits.
I'm sorry, Sam, that was for the commuter express? Or what?
Commuter Bikeway project.
Oh, the bike ride.
Yeah, the Bikeway project. This is the bikeway that goes along the
Walnut Creek.
Walnut Creek. I do want to point out at this point that this project has now been given a second grant. This is an ATP grant for the greening of that trail. So this project will build the road and the markers, install the DG, and then the next phase will bring the greening, the trees, the fencing, the landscape. So we were very fortunate to have received that grant. The commuter express line expansion, this is the 2 trolleys that is going to expand our current fleet with bringing a commuter express line. Bless you. To our transit operations. This is in negotiation right now, but since we just sent an RFP for transit services, we'll wait until we see who we're going to go with to negotiate incorporation of these trolleys. I'd like to skip over to CIP 101. This is a graffiti tracking system that we've been working with some of the PD folks. So our staff, our maintenance staff, we have a graffiti crew. They go out there to abate graffiti. This program will give them iPads to take pictures of the monikers that they are abating. That is forwarded over to a third party who identifies the monikers and tracks who's doing that graffiti, and reports back to the cities on who they are. And sometimes if another city has caught the same person and they've already established who he is and they've gotten retribution, we can seek retribution as well. It helps out the police department.
Kind of like fingerprinting, right? Like everything
Yes.
goes in a system and everyone shares the information.
Right, everybody shares. So there's quite a bit of cities. The city of West Covina is in the program, city of Glendora, and so we think this will be a good system to help us recoup some of the costs that we spent on graffiti abatement.
Is that a one-time fee or an annual fee?
That's an annual fee. So, the annual fee is actually less. This is implementation fee included with the first year. We're going to be purchasing a forklift, a trailer, and we're also going to be purchasing a plotter very soon. And the plotter is for street signage so that we can do some of these signs really quick in-house instead of having to go to a third party to produce the signs for us. So we'll be able to do that in-house. I understand that staff used to be able to do that, but the plotter's not working. So we're going to replace the plotter, and this will make us more responsive when it comes to replacing signs. The plotter that's there now is a little bit over 10 years old. It's about 12 years old. So we're going to be bringing in a new
So this
modern
new
plotter.
one, you put the sign in there?
Yeah, well, it prints out on a film that gets affixed to a aluminum panel, and that's how the signs are.
Is that what I'm saying?
Yeah, that's how they're set up.
What's it? It's a sticker?
Like a sticker.
Oh, okay.
CIP 20, this is the public CNG station. Previously, I mentioned that we had already purchased and secured the unit, and it's being stored by at a facility. This is the construction cost, which is this project will be coming to council within the next 2 or 3 meetings for authorization to bid.
Sam, what about the CNG station that is being proposed at the sanitation, the county sanitation, or the county public works?
Yeah, this is it. This
So
is.
we are renting to 440,000 for it?
We are, our portion is 400,000, and then there is a AQMD portion for 400,000, and then there is an LA County portion for 400,000. So it's a $1.2 million project.
When is that?
The construction cost for it is 440.
When does that anticipate to go through?
We plan on bringing it to council within the next 2 or 3 council meetings. We're finalizing the plan and getting ready for seeking authorization to bid.
Oh, okay, cool.
Also, Mayor, I think you weren't here earlier, but what he did is he broke the project up into two. He bought the actual compressor and the CNG machine.
Oh, wow.
Yes.
He bought
So-
it, he purchased it, and it's put away at the, in our yard?
Yeah, no, it's at the manufacturer's facility. It's at the Galileo facility in Arcadia. And we did that to cut down on the lead time. If we go out to bid, then it's the contractor's responsibility to go and get the unit, and we didn't want to wait for all that whole process. So as soon as we bid the project, we get a little bit, and we move forward with the project, we'll bring and supply the unit for construction.
Very good. Thank you. Thank you.
Just some of the projects that are currently under development. These are projects that will be coming to council for bid, but not within the next 2 or 3 meetings. These are down the line, but they will be coming to council for bid. We have the Major Streets Rehabilitation Project. This is the phase 2 to the residential streets project that I was talking about earlier. This will do about $1.5 million in major streets rehabilitation. We have the citywide tree planting. This is a grant that was given to us by the Hilda Solis's office, and we're going to be working with the Conservation Corps and having them help us with the planting of the trees. We are doing that design in-house, and we should be coming back to council to get an approval on the agreement with the Conservation Corps very soon. Fraser Avenue pedestrian and bicycle improvements. That project is about 65% complete. It's in design. Once we have that completed, we'll come to council for authorization to bid. Pacific Avenue, Bogart Avenue rail crossing. This is improvement similar to the ones that Metrolink has done at the Ramona crossing, but we are doing the improvements at the Pacific crossing. This includes quiet zone ready improvements, so we'll have quad gates, and we're going to be installing a second traffic signal and syncing it to the Downing signal. So we are complete with the plan, and it's currently being reviewed by Metrolink staff.
So you said about quiet zone, is that what you
Correct.
said? So
Yes,
we're talking
it'll be quiet zone ready.
Okay.
So,
That-
yeah,
So
so,
no more honky to the horn?
well, the idea,
the process.
yeah, it's a process. So you have to have a 1 mile stretch of improvements to qualify for a quiet zone. Metrolink has done the Ramona crossing, and we're doing the Pacific crossing. Then we have the McDevitt and Merced crossings to be done. Once we get those done with quiet zone improvements, then we can apply for a quiet zone.
So
So
how many crossings do we have? Is it 4?
We have 8 crosses.
There's 7.
Yeah, 7 crossings citywide. We only need to improve a 1 mile stretch to qualify for the quiet zone. But we can continue making improvements down the line at other crossings and incorporating those into the quiet zone.
So how many crossings do you need to make up a mile?
Well, the 4 crossings I mentioned, the Ramona, Pacific, McDevitt, and Merced, that constitutes the 1 mile stretch.
No more honky?
And those
And not
are,
in those areas.
those represent the bulk of where our residential homes
Correct.
are. Some of the other crossings are down, by In and Out and near the industrial
Oh.
areas. So this gets the bulk of it, but we can still pursue the others after.
Correct.
Okay, very good.
And we're also working on our Safe Routes to School plan. This is improving various locations citywide at 3 schools, I think. And we're about 65% of that. So this will bring another $3,233,000 in cost once we move forward with the construction of those projects. So here's just a short listing of future projects that are going to be added to the CIP. We're hoping to add these, maybe not in the mid-year, but maybe next CIP. I'm looking at Rose. We want to purchase new Dollaride vans. The ones that we have are old and they're in need of replacement. The Systemic Safety Analysis Report, Council approved the resolution at the last meeting, so we're going to be moving forward with that project. This is a Caltrans grant. First, last mile connections to the transit center, that was also approved by council at the last meeting, and we're going to be bringing in that project into the CIP as well. Other projects that we're looking at is we have median landscape improvements, Phase 2. This is for improving the medians that were not improved in the first round, where we did most of the major streets. So we have a couple of small medians. We have some on San Bernardino Road or Ramona. We have some on Puente. So this will bring those water or drought tolerant improvements to those with the smart irrigation system. And then we're also looking at entrance monuments along the major corridors. We're going to be having an architect design a small monument sign to place along major entrance corridors to the city. We'll be bringing that to council for consideration on locations very soon.
So the medium landscape improvements will that be brought to the council's for?
Absolutely, yeah. We'll go through the whole similar process as before. We'll come to the council and show the council what we plan to do, what types of trees we want to bring in, and we learned a lot from the first round experience. So I think we'll be ready for moving forward with this project. Now that's all I have as far as the CIP program and when we're at this point. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask me. I'll be more than happy to answer any questions. I also have a staff member, David Lopez, here who can answer some questions.
Can you get us a monument with all the council members, like a bust of all?
Absolutely.
all the council members?
I have a question. It'll be real fast. I drive up on Park Boulevard towards Kaiser quite a bit, but I had never noticed until today that on the west side of the street, as you're going over the freeway, I saw 4 or 5 Kaiser workers walking, and it's all dirt with just like, there were wood chips there at one time, it looks like, but they've made a path, which tells me that they're using that a lot.
Okay.
So, I don't know if that's a Caltrans, or how could we get a sidewalk for them?
Well, I'll look into it, but I do believe that that's a Caltrans property, and it's along, it's the space that leads to the bridge, so.
Yeah, you wouldn't be able to put a standard sidewalk in there
Okay.
because of the allowable space.
Okay.
But to accommodate those that can fit through there, we try to put a surface. The surface of the bridge can be maintained by the city, so we just have to go through Caltrans.
Yeah, we would have to.
Process of allowing for that.
Okay.
The hard part would be really join into the crossing for the on-ramp at going
Oh, I know what you're talking about.
southbound onto.
Yes, or the restaurant.
westbound. Yeah.
Yes.
That area right there was, but that's the reason why they didn't expand it through there, because of that movement. There's too many cars going through there, it was a safety issue. So they decided to move everybody to the east side.
Yeah.
And then close and build that sidewalk.
But they use it a lot.
But if they're using it a lot, we can study that a little closer, see if we can accommodate some safety enhancements to allow for that movement. But they would not be ADA accessible.
Most of the people, of course, I've seen walking. So I guess that's like a path. Like I said, it looks worn, so you can tell that they've used it a lot.
There's
So-
some boat trails.
But anyway, and I know that on the other side, like you said, on the east side, there is a sidewalk. But it doesn't look like they use the east side. They use the west side more. So, I don't know, I just thought, today I noticed it. I noticed a bunch of them were walking. That's why it was brought to my attention. Yeah.
Look at
Thank you.
I have a couple of questions.
Yes.
So I know you're gonna talk about the median, the landscaping parts that were not covered. When do you anticipate the whole project will be completed, the phase 2? Do you have a timeline
For the
that?
median landscape? No,
For phase 2.
no, the first thing we have to do is find the money and then add it to the CIP. And then we'll start thinking on, are we gonna do that in-house, or are we gonna send it out and design that? But I'm thinking maybe sometime following year.
So this is gonna be separate from the original one that we had, correct?
Right.
I guess my concern is, not concern, but rather suggestion is that we have to figure out how to make both of them mesh, because, sometimes when it's 2 different people doing a project, it's kind of obvious it's 2 different people still keeping with the same theme that we have, so it doesn't look like it's a different
Right.
person doing the landscaping. We want all the plants and everything to be uniformed. So that would be my only, caution there. They look the same.
Thank you.
Yeah, just want to ask you about the cross for the quiet zone. So
Yeah.
it's a mile, so it ends on Merced, right? So,
Correct.
so that means we're going to have to upgrade the current cross? Is that what we're doing, or?
Yes, so.
Like we did over here?
Yeah, so Metrolink did the Ramona crossing. We are upgrading the Pacific crossing. We are going to design the McDevitt and Merced crossings, and then we're still looking for funding for construction on those locations.
So when you're saying upgrade, what is it you're going to upgrade? Because isn't the rails that would, are we actually going on to what area would be considered part of the Metrolink? Or not?
Yes, so it could involve both. In the case of Pacific, we are going onto their property and upgrading some of their panels to make way for ADA access. So it could involve that or not. But basically, it's just improvements, safety improvements that will qualify the crossing for a quiet zone.
I see.
In the case of Pacific, we're going to be adding quad gates, so that's gates all around.
Oh, wow, okay.
And we're going to be adding pedestrian gates and ADA access.
Now, this one right here, this was Metrolink cost, right?
Correct, yes.
Okay.
Yes, and that is also, they did do a quiet zone ready improvement. They didn't do the quad gates because we allowed them to close up a driveway that was very close. You have to be within 60 feet of the crosswalk to, you can't have a driveway in that area. So we allowed them to close the driveway to the Little Ramona site, and then the landscape. But that is considered a quiet zone ready.
All right, so you finish this one off, then Merced is the one that you're still looking for?
Yeah, and we're only looking for construction funds on those. And we're working with California Consultant, they're not here today, but we're working on a federal grant for those.
So once that gets done, whenever that happens, the funds, then we could apply for the quiet zone?
Correct.
Wow.
We would have to have the improvements in place before we can apply for them.
Wow, okay, well, at least we're doing some progress in that area.
I think we're moving in the right direction, yes.
The
Great.
trainism is noisy. And I think that the new buildings at Irwindale, across from me, of course, right, which I'm right by the transit center. I think the buildings that Irwindale put up across the street from me hold back a lot of the sound. I don't hear it as loud as I used to at 5 in the morning or whatever when they, and even 11 o'clock at night when the last train comes through.
So the locomotives, back then were being used a lot more. Now they've reduced the use of the locomotives. So you see less of a loud, but it could still be there. So.
Okay,
Thank
excellent
you.
presentation. Good job.
Thank you. All right.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Okay, so we did that.
Move it along.
We're gonna go into closed session, or do we have anything else? Yeah, right? Okay, so at this point, I'll ask everyone to please vacate. We're going to closed session.
Right, lights on.